Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and today we are taking a look at some of the biggest and best upcoming games that you should play in 2025, which are all releasing on the PS5. We have got some awesome ones to look forward to, and if they all release, 2025 could be one of the best years ever. So grab your favourite snack, drop a like and tell me what games you are hyped for, and we're just going to jump straight in. And first up, which is one of my most anticipated games this year, is Mafia the Old Country. We've seen a couple of trailers now over the last few months, and this is shaping up to be a great looking game. So it's the fourth installment in the series, and it takes us back to the origins, where it all started in the 1900s in Sicily. And unlike the other Mafia games, expect to see more countryside and horses, as opposed to those New York streets and back alleys. And from the trailers that we've seen, this looks proper gritty, and I assume it'll have a similar open world like the previous games, with plenty of car chases, combat, and double crossing in the main story. It's also given me that Red Dead vibes with that vast open countryside, so it'd be great to see how it plays out. Now, I am a huge fan of the Mafia series. In fact, I've been replaying the Definitive Edition over the last couple of months. So to get a new game after nearly 10 years is awesome to see. And after 5 years, we are finally getting a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, and this time called Ghost of Yotei. Sorry if I've completely butchered that name. Now, this is Sucker Punch's latest installment in the series, which brings us a whole new story. This time, though, is going to be set 300 years after the first game, which means unfortunately, Jin is no more. But what that does mean is we're playing as a new warrior called Atsu, also known as the Ghost. Not much has been shared yet, but what we do know is it's set in northern Japan and the setting looks absolutely stunning. Now, it's going to be made for the PS5 and I would expect this to launch around October 2025, but that's yet to be confirmed. And another big sequel dropping in 2025 is Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Fortunately, this isn't set hundreds of years after the first, so Sam or Sam Porter Bridges does make a return for the second installment. We're also getting both new and familiar characters in this game, including Higgs. Now, just like the first, the setting and the story of this game is going to be filled with challenging environments, enemies, and you could say unpredictable conditions. And on top of that, the scenery and the graphics of this game are just going to blow us away. I mean, the PS4 game that launched back in 2019 still looks incredible today. So for the new one to be developed for the PS5, I'm hoping we're in for a real treat. And as for the story, well, as of right now at least, not a great deal has been shared. All we know is it's going to go beyond the UCA on a whole new journey. We also don't yet have a set date for Death Stranding 2, but it's set to release in 2025 on the PS5. Next up, a game we originally expected to see in 2024, which is instead launching in February 2025, is Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is going to be an open-world action-adventure stealth-like game set in Japan in the late 1500s. And this time we get to play as two protagonists, a samurai and a shinobi, who both have different abilities, combat styles and strengths. This also means that during the gameplay and the storyline we'll be able to switch between the two characters to explore the open world and tackle those missions. Now, we can either go at it stealth in that ninja-like fashion or just throw our weight around and smash things up. Now, Ubisoft did share some extended gameplay towards the end of 2024, and I've got to say this could end up being one of the best looking Assassin's Creed games that we've ever had. I know it's different from what we've had before, but I've got high hopes for it. Please don't let me down. And if you're a Borderlands fan, we are getting the fourth installment in 2025, and this time we're heading away from Pandora and to a whole new planet. Just like the previous games, this is a looter shooter absolutely packed with intense combat, outrageous enemies and humorous dialogue, although it has been said they are dialing back the toilet humour a little bit. Now, from the trailer, not a great deal has been shared in terms of the gameplay, but what we do know is it won't be drastically different from the previous games, so you'll once again get to play as one of the 4 vault hunters on the search for treasure and loot. It's also going to give us both split screen and online co-op, which, let's face it, is great to see as so many other games have dropped this in recent years. And next up is the latest installment in the Doom series, which looks absolutely insane, which is Doom: The Dark Ages. And this isn't just another sequel either, this time it's a prequel. So the main story will take us all the way back to the Doom Slayer's origins. We're talking swords, axes and shields, but also demons, hellfire and absolute chaos. Now, the devs have said that they've tried to blend the traditional Doom gameplay with the medieval themed weapons and enemies. So if you're a fan of the Doom series or you just want to play a new single player action FPS game, I think this could be the one. And to think it's been about 5 years since the last installment, I think we're in for a real treat. And then we have Atomfall, an upcoming survival action game from Rebellion, and this looks like a must-play in 2025. So it's set in England 5 years after the real-life nuclear disaster which happened here in 1957. You wake in the quarantine zone and you'll need to explore the open countryside, scavenge for supplies, craft weapons, barter with characters, and try to avoid the rogue government agents. But not only is this a survival game, you'll be uncovering the truth behind the disaster, trying to find out what happened by gathering clues from every conversation you have. It's also got intense combat, which has been said to be pretty unforgiving. And on top of that, you need to manage your heart rate, which kind of adds a strange layer of realism. Now, although this is set in England, it's a reimagined British countryside which blends history and sci-fi. It's kind of giving me a Fallout vibe, which I'm all for. And we do actually have a date for this game, so Atomfall will be launching on March the 27th in 2025. And if you've read the books and watched the movies, you'll soon be able to play the game, and that is Dune Awakening. This is set on the deadly planet of Arrakis, where, let's be honest, everything is out to kill you. We've got sandstorms, spice addiction, and giant sandworms. They've said that this will be a survival game where you will need to search for water, shelter, and of course walk softly on the sand. And this isn't just about surviving the desert. You'll be able to build bases, craft gear, and even ride those sandworms. The world here is also massive and fully explorable, with dynamic weather, and as it's an MMO, you'll be able to team up or trade with other players. Now, this is set to first release on PC in early access, but we should get some updates soon on the actual launch dates and when it is coming to the PS5. And if you like your horror-like, mind-bending puzzle games, we've got the third installment of Little Nightmares dropping in 2025. So you'll step into the shoes of two new characters, Lo and Alone, each with unique abilities to explore the world. Lo is a half-masked boy with a cape, while Alone is the jumpsuit-wearing girl. And just like the previous games, this is going to be pretty dark and eerie with creepy-looking creatures hiding in the shadows. Oh, and for the first time, you'll be able to team up with a friend online in co-op mode, which is awesome to see. Then we have Monster Hunter Wilds, the highly anticipated ARPG from Capcom, and this is set to launch in early 2025, 7 years after the last installment. Now, we've already seen a few trailers for the game, and this is shaping up to be very good. But this time, we are heading to the Forbidden Lands, a vast and you could say untamed wilderness, to find a missing expedition. It's going to be packed with monsters and dangerous creatures, as well as open areas, each with their own day-night weather cycles to keep you on your toes. Now, Capcom have confirmed that all 14 classic weapon types will be making a return, but this time with updated moves and a new tactical option. Now, although you can play this solo, it will come with up to 4-player co-op as well, either online or AI. And next up, we've got Hell Is Us, a third-person action-adventure game with a twist. So this is a semi-open world game that follows Remy, a former UN peacekeeper, who's exploring his war-torn homeland in search for his parents. But this place isn't the same as he left it. It's now crawling with supernatural beings and enemies. Combat is going to be up close and personal, plus you've got a handy drone to help you out with exploring and fighting off those enemies. Now, the team have said that although there are of course missions and stories to follow, this game strips away the hand-holding and lets us naturally explore the game. That means there's no map, no compass, and not even any quest markers. You'll need to explore and navigate your way around by using clues and dialogue to understand what you actually need to do. So this is completely different to what we've seen before, and it's going to be immersive to say the least. And we're getting a spin-off series of Like a Dragon with Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. This is set after the events of Infinite Wealth, the 2024 game, where you end up stranded on an island and lose all of your memories. The only logical thing to do next would be to form your own pirate crew and go searching for treasure. Now, similar to the previous games, this has a classic beat-em-up combat system, but there are going to be 2 new abilities including jumping and mid-air combos. It's going to have naval adventures, treasure hunts, and a quirky cast of characters. So if you're a fan of the series or just fancy a good pirate adventure, this drops in February the 28th, 2025. Okay, now there's going to be absolutely no surprise that I've included this in today's list. After all, it's probably going to be Game of the Decade, let alone Game of the Year, and that is GTA 6. I mean, technically we don't have a release date for it yet, but assuming this does still drop in 2025, around November, December time, I had to include it in anticipation. So this time we're heading back to the streets of Vice City, similar to what we saw back in 2006, but it's going to be set in a modern time. We've got those classic neon signs, the strip, half-clothed NPCs, and the biggest and most immersive Grand Theft Auto yet. Now, we know from the trailer there's going to be Lucia, but we're yet to be introduced to the other characters. And to think it has been 11 years since GTA 5 first launched back on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. It is incredible that we've waited this long for the next one. And I'm not sure about you, but I am so ready for it as well. I'm ready to explore the streets, driving around the open world map, smashing out that huge storyline and hitting the clubs and committing those crimes we can only dream of. And I'm not sure if it's the Vice City setting, but I'm getting old school nostalgic vibes every time I watch the trailer. And I think it's safe to say that once GTA 6 does drop, I'm not sure I'll have the time to play anything else. Okay, so on December the 9th, we got Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which drops on Xbox. However, it is also coming to the PS5 in 2025, so it's definitely one that deserves to be on the list today. Not only because it looks great, but the reviews have been pretty good. So you play as Henry Jones, also known as Indiana, in 1937 on a mission to investigate the theft of an artifact from the Marshall College. It's based on the Indiana Jones franchise with its own original storyline, although it does also share some similarities with the movies and obviously takes inspiration from them. Now this is an action-adventure game with the perfect blend of puzzle solving, action and exploration that I'm looking forward to playing in 2025. And if you've played any of the Dark Pictures anthology games, this one's for you. So Directive 8020 is an upcoming interactive survival horror game that gives you more of a cinematic storyline gameplay than action. So you play as one of the 5 different characters on a colony ship which has crash landed on a planet that is light years from Earth. And the game is said to take huge inspiration from The Thing, Alien and Prometheus. This game is also going to be dark and scary, and every decision you make via the narrative-driven choices will alter the plot and relationships, even leading to permanent death for some of the characters. So yeah, if you want a cinematic story-type game, this one is definitely going to be for you. And we are back with another installment of Dying Light, this time The Beast. It's a survival horror game set in a post-apocalyptic world, where you have to use your survival and parkour skills to explore the open world city, all while trying to avoid or fight the infected creatures. Now, I'll be honest, I never got round to playing Dying Light 2, but this one I am excited for. And believe it or not, the game originally started out as a DLC, but ended up becoming a fully standalone game. Oh, and if you bought the Ultimate Edition of Dying Light 2, you will get this new game completely for free. So you've still got time to buy Dying Light 2 now if you think you're going to play this one next. And who doesn't love a good co-op game? If you played It Takes Two, you'll be pleased to hear that the team behind that is bringing us a new title called Split Fiction. But instead of cartoony, we are getting a sci-fi fantasy type game where you play as 2 amateur writers, Mio and Zoe. They've just teamed up with a tech company that's pitched the idea to use their stories, but things don't really go to plan and you end up being sucked into the system, essentially throwing you into a simulation of their own story worlds. Now, for what we've seen so far, it looks like you'll spend your time working together, not against one another, to progress through the stories and escape the worlds. I mean, let's be honest, if It Takes Two is anything to go by, this is going to be a lot of fun if you enjoy those couch co-op type games. And the great news is Split Fiction does have a release date, and that is dropping on March the 6th, 2025, so not too long to wait. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra looks promising as well. This is an action-adventure game where you get to play as 4 different characters, including Captain America and Black Panther. This is going to be set in Paris during the World War II, where you need to form an alliance to fight against the Hydra organization. From the trailer we've seen, we'll get to explore Paris, the jungles of Wakanda, and a few other areas as well. It's going to be a single player game, although we can control 4 different characters. And what I really like about this is the writer and director is the same from the Uncharted series, which is really promising. So I think this is going to be a great game. And then we've got a few other games which haven't yet confirmed if they're dropping in 2025. So another huge game that we know is on the horizon is Marvel's Wolverine. If you were a fan of the Spider-Man games, being Spider-Man 1, 2 or Miles Morales, Wolverine is brought to you by the same team, Insomniac. Now the trailer gave us a glimpse into how this might look, but it's hard to say how it will actually play. I know it's going to be good though, although a 2025 release could be very optimistic. And recently, Naughty Dog announced Intergalactic. This is the same team behind the Last of Us series, but this time is heading to a whole new world. You'll play as Jordan, a bounty hunter who ends up on a stranded and distant planet with no communications. That's pretty much all we know at this stage about the game and the story, and the chances are it will be at least another couple of years before it drops. And then we have the Sims 4-like competitor Inzoi, and that's coming to early access on PC in March. And although they have confirmed it is coming to the PS5 as well, we don't yet have a date for this. But when this does launch, it is going to be huge. You can create your own character, find a job, build and style your house, make friends, relationships and buy outfits. You can even move around the city. I remember seeing this at Gamescom in August and it looked great. So hopefully it will have a great early access and we'll see it on the PS5 in 2025. So yeah, 2025 is already looking like a really strong year for gaming, and expensive if all of these actually come out. So tell me what games you are hyped to play, and if there are any big ones that I've missed. For me, it has got to be Mafia the Old Country, GTA 6, and Ghost of Yotei, but there are so many games this year to look forward to. Now drop a best PS5 games in the comments, and I'll give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And if you did enjoy today's video, check out my PS5 Pro review video next, as it covers everything that the new console can actually do. Well, thanks for watching, please like, subscribe and follow me everywhere. Until next time.